your running pliers can only do certain widths of glass, but these are the Leponettes, and we'll just run those right out again, just like that. Now that's about the narrowest that you can run with not just Leponette running pliers, but with any running plier. So now let's go back over here and let's work on the Silberschnitz just a little bit. And remember, the Silberschnitz, once we start our run, we can turn the head on the top to break the glass sideways. Okay, so if I go in right here, I'm gonna turn this head, the top head, sideways, center it up, squeeze, and push down. Now, there's only one set of running pliers that I know of that you can run glass sideways, and that's the Silberschnitz, everybody. Silberschnitz really help you as far as trying to take out what used to be rainbow cuts. These turn rainbow cuts into simple cuts. Okay, better, and the best, okay? So now we're talking grousing pliers. Your grousing pliers, of course, are one of the most special tools that are in your tool arsenal. So this is the inland pliers, and they're okay, but I don't really particularly like them because the jaws are kind of funky, and there's a spring that goes inside of them, and if you open the jaw too far, that spring will shoot across the room, and then pretty much it's done. Now the pair of grousing pliers that I like, and Barb and I both use here in the glass studio, are the Leponette mini grousers. We really like these pliers. They have a great, watch this. They have a great pair of spring that works inside of them, and they work wonderfully. And I'll tell you what, the other thing is they have a really nice corrugated jaw that doesn't wear out after using it a little while. So, your grousing pliers are designed to grouse out those little pieces, eliminate those flares so they don't cut you on all of that glass. And then remember, you want to be able to use that, and these little jaws here that are corrugated, they're going to be able to make those grousing pliers one of your favorite tools in your toolbox. So we're just going to do a simple demonstration about how to use your grousing pliers. So here we go. We're going to take a cutout, and remember, your grousing pliers have a straight jaw on top, and they also have a curved jaw. Well, during this particular demonstration, we're going to be using our straight jaws at the top. We're going to put our knuckle underneath, pull down and away. So when we, remember, pull down and away. And I want you to see that. I want you to see this. You see how loose that piece of glass is in the jaw of my grousing pliers? Here's the thing. A lot of you have a problem with your grousing pliers because you're squeezing the plier when you break the glass. Your grousing pliers are designed to hold the glass for you and to help you break it. But if you squeeze these jaws way too hard, you're going to end up breaking the glass as opposed to running the glass from the score that you just previously cut. So keep that in mind. I'm Ed, and we're here in the Conway Glass Studios today, and we're talking tools. First of all, you guys know that if you've watched our channel for a while, that I'm a big stickler for the rheostat. But before we talk about that, we're going to talk a little bit about a studio iron for those of you that are not only professionals, but you're novices and just getting started. So first of all, the hobby iron. This is a nice little iron right here. This is a hobby iron, and it works really well. And remember, this is a nice iron for the studio beginner. I like it, and we use it in our classes here in the studio. However, this particular iron The one fault that I can see with it, and I always put electrical tape, is I tape this onto the handle right here, because you see it comes off. But this is what helps hold the handle really nice for you. And then, of course, this iron, because it's a studio iron and doesn't have a rheostat in it, requires a soldering iron control. Now, 2 of the 3 irons that I'm sharing with you guys today will require a studio soldering iron control, and it's not a big deal. So the upgrade from the studio iron is going to be the Weller 100P professional studio iron. So this iron right here, this iron is a 100 watt, and this iron actually comes with 3 different temperature tips, but you don't need but the first tip, the 700 degree tip, because you're only working at around between 550 and 650. But because this Weller 100P soldering iron doesn't have an iron control with it, again, everybody, we need a soldering iron control. And Ed likes to work on, and you know I do, Ed likes to work his soldering iron control right around between 7.5 and 8, and that's depending on the humidity or if the air conditioner is blowing or not. Now, our last and final iron I'm going to share with y'all, and we did a video on this, and we have a few complaints about it, but this is the Hakko. This is the Hakko FX601. If your hands are strong enough, you can adjust the rheostat that's in the handle. I don't like the cord because it's too long, or it's not long enough, and it's stiff. So the other thing is, I mean, it recoups its heat quite well because it's got a ceramic heater in it. And then you have your control right here. Now, when I'm using this Hakko iron, or at least when we did the video, I left it on the 310. Now remember, these temperatures are Celsius. They are not Fahrenheit. So you're going to have to adjust it. And if you keep it on like the 360 here, I believe you're going to find that's around 625 degrees. So that's probably where you need to work, but make sure you do a test. If you're not sure about any of these soldering irons, check out the soldering video right here, linked to this above my head. We're talking cutters now. This is one of the most important, if not the most important tool in your toolbox, guys. So, and you're gonna find that, and I'm showing you 6 different cutters here, okay? And you're gonna find one of these or none of these may be comfortable in your hand, but I will say this. Once you learn to cut glass, please try and find a cutter that fits in your hand comfortably. If while you're cutting glass, after a few scores, your hand starts to cramp up or something, that's not the cutter for you guys. I'm going to show you, we're going to talk about these different cutters. They are all simple. Some of them have been around forever. Some of them haven't been around very long at all. But we're going to talk about them, and they all fit in your hand differently, and they should all make sure that they don't give you fatigue in your hand. If you're cutting glass and your hand becomes fatigued, that's not the glass cutter for you. So here we go. We're going to start cutting glass and sharing our 6 different glass cutters. Here we go. So we're back in the studio and we are talking cutters. Remember, we've got 6 different cutters here, and we got to strip out some of this 58D, which is a Wismac, each cutter on each strip, and we're going to see how it goes. Now, the very first cutter we're going to use is the old ball cutter, which is actually the very first cutter that I ever learned how to cut glass with. Let's see what it sounds like, which is probably not going to be that great. And then we'll see if we can break the glass with it. And now you hear it. We're going to take our running pliers. And this is the cutter that you pick up at the hardware store. And it even messes up when I use it. This glass cutter right here, I don't recommend it. They're about $5, and it just wasted $10 worth of glass. So anyway, here we go. This is another cutter. Now this cutter fits in your hand. Those of you that have carpal tunnel or have something, your wrist isn't that strong, this works like this. But I'm going to tell you something about this glass cutter. This cutter does not fit well in Ed's hand, and I don't use this cutter for anything at all. Here we go. Let's try this. Here we go. So we're not changing our pressure. We're going to see if... Now that sends out a really nice score. The one thing that I don't like about the pistol grip cutter, y'all, is that it has too much play in the head. And unless you... it's great for pushing your patterns, but I don't like it for cutting straight lines. Because that's what I'm doing right now, and I definitely do not use that cutter. So here we go. This is the Thompson palm grip here. This is a nice glass cutter. It fits. You can see it fits right here in the V of between your thumb and your index finger. And now we need to measure this because we want to make sure that we need at least 4 inches to do what we need to do. So remember, this now has the spring-loaded head. Depress the head. Score. And run. Okay, so we just took a score with the Thompson palm grip. This is a nice cutter. I like it. I don't use it that often, but I do have one. This is a nice cutter for your toolbox. Okay, next up, everybody, the one that we've been talking a lot about, and that is the Silversnit 4000. This is a brass weighted heavy cutter with a spring-loaded head on it, and this thing is really nice. It's got a little groove right here that you can rest your finger on and keeps it from sliding. And here we go. Let's take a okay. So remember, when you have a spring-loaded head on your glass cutter, the amount of pressure it takes to cut your glass is the amount of pressure it takes to depress the head onto the glass. I'm liking this cutter here. This is the Silversnit 4000. Next up, gang, we're doing the Silversnit 2000. Here we go. Let's check this out. I know Ed's got a lot of different cutters, but you know what? I think what we need to do, and exactly what we are doing with these cutters, is that we are sharing them with you. Now, this is the Silversnit 2000. This is a fixed head glass cutter. The cutter head doesn't move. It doesn't depress. It doesn't have a reservoir in it. This is just a really nice glass cutter for everyone that's doing this type of work. So we're going to get this where we need it to be, because, you know, we're just cutting 4-inch strips, because what we're working on now with this lamp beige are ropes. So here we go. Let's try this out. This is really, feels good in my hand. I like cutting straight lines with this. Silversnit 2000, y'all. Wow. Felt good in my hand. Felt good while we're cutting glass. And now we're going to cut one more. And everybody knows what cutter Ed's grabbing now. This is our brass handle glass cutter with a TC10 head on it. And so we're going to share this with you. This is Old Faithful brass handle glass cutter from Toyo. And you know, this one's been around for a while. I've shared what my cutter looks like, my Toyo cutter looks like with you. So let's get this right here. Let's see what this sounds like. And we're just gonna pull a nice straight line. And remember, driving in and driving out is the way to cut your glass, and never pick your cutter up while you're trying to cut glass, unless you've finished. Here we go. You guys can hear that. It's like going down a bumpy road. Look at that. Is that sweet or what? Remember, this is the Toyo brass handle cutter. It usually will fit in anyone's hand. But remember what we talked about with these cutters is if you're using them and they don't fit good in your hand or they make your hand fatigued, go to a different cutter. Check out your brick and mortar stained glass shop. They usually have a variety of cutters for you to try, and hopefully you'll find the one that fits your hand perfectly, which will ensure nothing but success in your glass cutting skills.